Okay, perfect. All right, cool.
Ready? Good.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome out to this Kershaw County Council June 10th, 2025 meeting. We've been called to order. We'd like to welcome our council tonight, Ms. Sydney Douglas. John DeBose is out of town on vacation, so it's good to have a smiling face up here. Not that John doesn't ever smile. Tonight, we've got the invocation being coordinated by Councilman Jimmy Jones and the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, the invocation and pledge will be done by Hunter Prest, and whenever young people get involved in the public process, we'd like to recognize them. Hunter's a Life Scout in BSA Troop 316 in Lugoff. He's served his troop throughout the years in many leadership positions, including senior patrol leader, and is currently working on his Eagle Scout project. Hunter is an active member of Living Springs Lutheran Church, participating in worship, attending youth group activities, and serving on the church council. He plans to continue serving God and his community by attending seminary after college and becoming a pastor. And so we look forward to your prayer tonight. Hunter, if you would please come forward to the mic.
Please stand and remove any headgear for the prayer. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day, for the rain, for the plants and animals that you sustain. Help us to be good stewards of your creation. We thank you for the people gathered here today, the council members, guests, and others. Help us make wise decisions that serve you and our community. Finally, Lord, I ask that you watch over us and keep us safe in our comings and goings, and help us keep the teachings of your Son, of love, grace, and humility. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Please turn to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter.
Good job.
Thank you very much, Hunter. All right, gentlemen, that brings us to item number 4 on the agenda. Are there any motions, adoption of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda. And then I have some amendments.
Okay, we got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We got a second. It's on the table. Mr. Tucker, do you have any other motions?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make an amendment that we include the Finance Committee report, which was left off of the agenda when it went out, and also the resolution for safe streets and roads. This resolution is due, the grant is due this week from the COG, and we need to have support from council so we can submit that package, so we can qualify for some extra road work here in Kershaw County if possible.
Okay, Mr. Tucker, just to make sure I understand, your motion includes 2 additions to the agenda, one of which is for discussion only, correct? No vote, just a Finance Committee report
That's correct?
for addition to discussions. And then the other one is time-sensitive and thus exigent for addition as a resolution which would occur after ordinances. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Thompson. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Raise your hand. On the Tucker agenda amendment, that passes unanimously for those who are present and voting. Ms. Hannah?
And Mr. Chairman, just kind of looking over this, it just really hit in my head. And Mr. Jones, I see this as your discussion, planning and zoning, ZLDR, and Ned Towell, Planning Commission Chair. I would want to kind of ask a legal opinion on that to see, with us in the middle of second reading of a moratorium on development, and the email that we got included some potential firms or contracted people who would be there to do studies and other things that we would be doing, and was wondering, with us being government, we had to go through procurement. So if potentially I would like to have that put from discussion to executive session, because I think legally we would be more sound there. But I'd love to have Mr. Chairman to come and present as far as executive session.
All right, so is that in the form of a motion?
That's the form of a motion, yes.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Shoemake seconds. Mr. Tomlinson, you still have the floor.
Yeah. Would you care to provide some legal opinion on that?
Well, I'm going to start off and say I absolutely disagree with you on that 100%. That's nothing but Never mind, I'll finish once you get through.
Yes, as far as the direct question, I think answering that would be more appropriate for executive session, just because we do have a pending ordinance that we're, seeking legal advice on as far as, exposure and that type of sort of thing. So that is up to all of you, how you want to handle that.
But you would recommend that we do that in executive session prior to out here?
I would, sir, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not to say that you
Thank
can't do
you.
it entirely.
Have
but-
a
Yeah,
question.
thank you.
Madam Attorney, have a question. Was this discussed with you prior to being here tonight?
What particularly, I'm sorry?
This amendment?
This amendment to the
So
agenda?
what he just said, was it discussed with you earlier
Not.
for this meeting?
Yeah, I can answer that question. I haven't
Yes.
spoken with her. We just met. So,
Okay.
Actually, where you were sitting with her.
I put the chairman of the planning commission and the planning commission on the agenda for discussion so they can come and tell us where they're at, what they're doing, how they're moving forward. I don't quite understand why that calls for an executive session.
Well, I'll note that on the agenda, we do have an executive session related to the moratorium. We have an attorney here to give legal advice tonight on that particular purpose. Is
Yeah.
that what you're thinking?
Yes, I think we can include it within that, and if we'd like to include the chairman of planning and zoning during that discussion. What I'm worried about is putting legal implications. We have no idea what's going to be said specifically, so there's legal implications. We're in second reading of a moratorium that is very important, that I've supported, Mr. Jones, you've supported, other council members up here have supported. I would hate to put us in a legal situation with conversations that I've had, and then two, also the procurement aspect of it. We're a government entity. If we're looking at having a presentation with people coming up, I would hate for the implication that we would put out there that we are already, without going through procurement, hiring people for contracts. So there's other things that I would like to have in executive session if we're going to have those conversations. That's my personal opinion, and I hope I'd like to take the recommendation on going for the vote.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Mr. Jones?
Folks, let me tell you something. I want to hear from the planning commission because we've been very critical as far as the timeline, because we hadn't sat down and had a conversation. I asked the planning commission to be here tonight. I think there's 3 or 4 members here along with the chairman. They were going to get up during the discussion to where we could have just a conversation. This wasn't about spending any money. It wasn't about signing any contracts. It was just, it was nothing but a conversation so we can be brought up to date on the comprehensive plan and we can be brought up to date on the land use ordinance. We can still do the executive session, but I still want to remain and keep my item agenda on the agenda. So as far as the discussion, under the discussion area, so we can go in executive session, ask him to come, but I still want some discussion in open session of county council for clarification on where we are, where we stand, because as I said, we've been very critical of them. That's no if and buts about it. And I'm a little disturbed that this happens and I'm not even notified this is going to happen. And but it's,
Mr.
That's
Jones,
what it is.
I was just looking through, and I haven't
understand.
spoken to anybody about it.
I
so-
understand, but obviously I think some knew about it. But here's the thing. I will not vote for an executive session for that unless we keep my agenda item on the agenda. If you're going to take my agenda item off the agenda, you're going to have a vote. And the votes are probably here. But I'll be very disappointed.
My motion is to move
Remove?
it from discussion to executive session.
Just a point of order, I'll raise myself. I don't think it's an actual removal. I think it would be a transfer or movement on the same agenda to be included with another agenda item or concurrent with it. Stays on the agenda for discussion to get consumed with another one. Any further discussion?
Well,
Mr.
just to
Jones?
be clear, the
Schuman.
motion on the floor is, it is removed from 9B and put into section 15.
Yeah, specifically, it would be 15B based on the motion.
All right, so it'd be 15B and 9B would be, 9B would go away and it would become 15B.
Yes, it would
I
be
don't support-
included within the executive session. And I would be happy to bring it up at another meeting. I just feel that anything that we're talking about in this moratorium, with the legal concerns that we could possibly get ourselves into, I don't want to have us in that situation how out here right now when we can have an executive session and discuss this at a further
What about
meeting.
it? What about the update that I wanted from the planning commission on the comprehensive plan, on the land use ordinance? Y'all not even willing to do that?
I wasn't aware of that. This right here in the email that I received specifically talked about the update was going to be looking at studies and other things and potential impacts of hiring people, which procurement plays a role. And then also, if we're looking at a moratorium for us as a county is very legally challenging. We know this. So I would rather further have all the protections in place by doing that in executive session. It is not for having discussions not out here. The discussions are in executive session for protection of this moratorium because I'm in support of it. I hope you are too.
Let me just tell you this, I'm not really in support of what you propose, but I'm going to vote for it to carry it through. I feel like it should just be for major subdivisions only. Of course, you know, that there were no votes for that. However, I have sat up here, and no, you guys started this, okay? I sat up here and listened to one after another criticize the planning commission about the land use ordinance, the comprehensive plan. And I thought it'd be a good idea to have the chairman and the committee members here to have some open discussion and dialogue with us on that. And the moratorium, I don't know what legal or what lawsuits or what we could get into talking about. Well, I support a major subdivision moratorium, which is 10 houses or more. And because I personally don't think that the less than that is the problem. I think the problem is the major subdivisions that we have in place. However, this is just, it's really taking me back, guys. I have never, one thing I would say in my 20 years, I have never had someone take something off the agenda that I put on the agenda in 20 years.
I'm not asking for it to be taken
well,
off. I'm asking for it to be moved to an executive
I wanted-
session, and I think it's legal repercussions.
No, I don't. I think I wanted public, I just wanted the public to be involved, to understand where we're going, where we stand. I think the public has a right to know that. And there's no fear of anybody talking about anything that's going to get us in a lawsuit. I think that is ridiculous. I mean,
Can you control what anybody says up there?
kind of control.
Can you? Can you control what anybody says, Mr. Jones?
We've had
We can't
people-
even control ourselves half the time.
Speaking of which,
Hold on a minute. Speaking with,
let me just mention, you both respectfully have had opportunities to speak. I just want to see if
I
any other
haven't
council
finished,
members.
but I was still talking, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, it seemed like you yielded for another question.
No, he got excited.
Well, please go ahead.
And stepped in, and to my colleagues, take a deep breath. You know, this is not personal, but it's disappointing. I think this is no more than just to, if you're going to criticize, if we're going to complain, and if we're worried about the comprehensive plan and the land use ordinance, you got them here. If the moratorium is concerning to you, then he doesn't have to talk about the moratorium. And I think he and the planning commission would respectfully do that. But bottom line is, at least let him come up here and talk about the progress they've made with the land use ordinance and the comprehensive plan, because I think they deserve that, because we've been so critical of them. I stand my ground. I'm very disappointed. I'm going to ask you guys not to vote for this tonight. I'm going to ask you all to leave it as it is, out of respect. Nobody's going to get up here and try to make anybody look bad. We're just going to talk about we'll talk about the comprehensive plan and the land use ordinance.
Any further discussion? All right, let's move it to a vote. All in favor of Mr. Tomlinson's amendment to the agenda, raise your hand. All against? Ms. Handy, do you have that for the record, or do you need me to call the names? You got it. All right, so it passes. That means that we have the Tucker amendment passing for 2 items, and the Tomlinson amendment passing as well. And that brings us to the agenda as amended. Okay? Any further discussion on the agenda as amended?
Can you tell me where Mr. Tucker's items are going on the,
Yes, Mr. Tucker's items are going, the resolution would go immediately after, it'd become the new 11. It'd go immediately after ordinances under our normal course of business in the rules. And then the COG update, which requires no vote, would become the new 9B for discussion only, no vote. Any further?
You mean the finance report?
Finance report, excuse me, yeah, the finance report. Any further discussion or questions?
Do we, are we going to talk about, I think there might be, it may make sense to move the executive sessions up a little bit earlier before.
What are the executive
discussion.
sessions for, Mr.?
Well, I was going to wait until after the agenda is adopted.
Okay,
then I
all
can
right, that's,
utilize it.
yeah, that's fine. Go-
The agenda has to be approved first.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
All right, any further questions, discussion?
Yeah, I have an amendment to his amendment.
Okay, if you were on a prevailing side, you can make a motion related to a particular topic, or do you have a new topic?
No, it's new because I want to allow the planning commission to get up here and talk about the comprehensive plan, and land use ordinance, and have some dialogue with us during discussion. There's no votes, there's just a discussion with the planning and zoning commission and the chairman.
Okay, is there a second? You have
Which
a
are
motion.
denying me that opportunity to do that.
We have a motion, is there a second? I see no second, so the motion fails.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. We're back to the agenda as amended. If there's no other questions or discussion, then we move to a vote as amended. All in favor of the agenda as amended, raise your hand. Ms. Hannah, you have those? And all opposed? Okay, the agenda passes.
Mr. Chairman, is Russell Brazel on the air, or he hasn't called in yet?
I think he's only indicated to staff that he plans on jumping on the call for participation in the moratorium ordinance item on the agenda.
That's correct. He reached out to me earlier and asked me to text him when we're going to that item on the agenda for voting, because he's at a conference in Tennessee and he's going to have to step away from it. So he's asked that we call him in for that particular item.
How many executive sessions are we having tonight?
We've got 3. And 2 of them, since the agenda has now passed, for the record, Ms. Hannah, 2 of them, that would be 15.
Mr. Chairman, I believe it's 4 now with the amended agenda, executive session items.
Yes. Well, he's combining two.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
okay.
combined, but 15 B and C, I'm going to move up to, under Chairman's prerogative, right after proclamations, so right after 7A. We've got some attorneys in the crowd to provide legal advice, and in order to reduce legal fees and respect their time because they're traveling from far and yonder, I'll move those 2 executive sessions up to right after 7A before approval of minutes. Okay? Okay, so we have the agenda adopted. We're moving to public comments. Ms. Douglas.
Yes, sir. We have, I believe, 6 individuals signed up for public comment.
Okay,
So we should be right at our time limit for everybody to have their 5 minutes.
okay. Who's the first person that signed up?
We have David Dabney
Mr.
speaking on the moratorium.
Mr. Dabney, please.
County Council, thank you for allowing me this time to come up here. Although I did get a little lightheaded sitting here, listening to the verbiage and stuff here to start off with. I came here tonight because last session y'all had, obviously you were voting on this moratorium, which consisted of large subdivisions. And I'm not saying that I'm totally against the moratorium, against growth in that way. I'm not. Kershaw County is growing, and it's growing at a pace in some areas in which.
Yeah, Mr. Dabney, if you could speak into the mic, I see some people saying they can't quite hear you.
Okay. I think Kershaw County is growing, and it needs to be addressed, obviously, with whether it's schools, whether it's sewers, or what have you. And there's certain areas of Kershaw County that are growing pretty close to exponentially, and that's in the Lugoff and Elgin areas. And when you vote on this, I just ask you to kind of take that in perspective. It's not throughout the whole county. I mean, I would invite each and every one of you, call me up, let's go eat some breakfast, and you ride around with me every day. By the way, I'm a residential builder here. My company is Sweetbriar Homes. I guess I probably needed to preface that. We will go in and do some minor subdivision developments. Most of those developments are over 6 acres. 6.15 acres we're building on right now. We do have one lot that's 1.25 acres on Hall Road in Cassett that we're building on. Those areas, we're not burdened. We don't put a burden on anything. We don't use We use sewer, septic systems, rural water, co-op energy. And we built one house in the past 7 years that was on city sewer and water. And I started reflecting on this when Mr. Brazel brought mine and Brett McLeod's name up as small business owners, when this proposal by Mr. Tomlinson was amendment to the original proposal here for the moratorium, which included a small subdivisions. And I started thinking about all the people that we subcontract our work out. We subcontract 100% of our work out. And everybody, with the exception of one trade, lives in Kershaw County. So obviously, they would be directly affected, as I would. And it seems as though most of the time when we come up in front of county council and there's things to be discussed, that every individual part has to have their own say in it. They have to have a little piece of the pie. We have to slice that grape thin each time, whether it's with Woodward Park, and we have to go to Bethune and refurbish these parks, or go to Lugoff and refurbish these parks. Everybody has to have their little piece of the share. I'm just saying in this instance, when you sit down and look at it, look at the areas in which are highly affected by it. Mr. Shoemate, your areas in which you represent are highly affected by the growth. Traffic, schools, or what have you. Let's figure out what to do over there. Cassett, we got no problems in Cassett. We got no problems in Antioch. I mean, and if you're an individual wanting to move from one of those subdivisions out and have a little chicken coop or a little small farm or something like that to raise your family on, go try to find a 5-6 acre lot. Try to find one. Lots of people, lots of money around here own lots of big properties. And if you want to go try to find a 5 or 6 acre lot to build your house on, I challenge you to do so. They're very hard to come by. We will take 45 acres and divide it into 9 lots. And most of those lots, we don't have any infrastructure. We don't have to do any of that inside that. But I'm really taken back by why we're included in this problem. I mean, I'd like some explanation. And one thing that I got from the conversation to start off with here is, how can you sit here and vote on something which you have so many questions about? You've got to go in executive session to find that out. I don't know. Seems kind of peculiar to me. And the last thing I'll ask is, we've had a lot of influx of people move into Kershaw County. Property taxes, vehicle taxes, and everything else. Infrastructure's a problem. All this additional revenue, what are we doing with it? Are we working on the infrastructure? Are we trying to widen roads? What are we building new schools? What are we doing with it? And I may be naive to that point, because I'm not here every day griping and complaining about everything that goes on here. But I'm going to gripe and complain about this because it directly affects me. And I'm out of time, and I understand that, but I could sit up here and talk for about 2 more hours. And again, anybody want to go to breakfast? Come ride with me. I'll show you what I do, and I'll show you how it affects our community.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll
Dabney.
pick you up wherever you want to go.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out, Mr. Dabney. Keep wanting to say Mr. Bose. Ms. Douglas.
Next, we have Linda Knatzer speaking on the moratorium as well.
Ms. Knatzer, please adjust the mic, ma'am. Thank you.
Y'all, please look at her.
I was just writing her name down. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Ms.
I'm
Knatzer.
getting your notes ready.
Chairman Connell, council members. Sightings of polar bears, dinosaurs, and Elvis are pretty much non-existent in Kershaw County. We can add to this list Kershaw County residents who showed up at the last council meeting to speak for more mega developments or to oppose the temporary moratorium at the first reading. That in itself sends a powerful message. Remember, Your loyalty is to the existing Kershaw County residents, not to future people who may or may not contribute to our county, and in some ways negatively affect our current quality of life. Also keep in mind our local contractors and suppliers who we need to protect. As a riding instructor, I heard a lot of excuses. When that happened, I would look at my rider and say, you have a choice to make. Either keep making excuses or stop. Because excuses get you nowhere.
Oh, excuse me, I was making a note on your conversation. Thank you so much. Ms. Douglas?
Next, we have Ray Griffin speaking on the airport.
Mr. Griffin?
Good evening. My name is Ray Griffin. I'm here to express my interest in serving on the Kershaw County Airport Advisory Commission. I'm a commercial jet and turboprop pilot, flight instructor, and owner of Sunray Aviation, a growing flight school based right here at Woodward Field. I currently have over 40 active students and am committed to aviation education, safety, and community development. Before moving into civilian aviation, I served for 6 years as a U.S. Air Force captain and financial officer, managing research and maintenance budgets for the Predator and Reaper drone programs. That experience taught me the value of long-term planning, fiscal responsibility, and operational readiness. I hold instructor ratings in both single and multi-engine aircraft, and I believe Woodward Field is a key part of Kershaw County's future. I'd be honored to serve on this commission and help guide its continued growth and success. Thank you, and have a blessed evening.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin.
That's my classmate right there, too.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Ms. Douglas?
Next, we have Lynn Conto speaking on the moratorium.
Ms. Conto?
My name is Lynn Conto, and I have a concern about the massive growth in Kershaw County. If you think about Charlotte and how much it's spread into Fort Mill, Rock Hill, Indian Land, and Lake Wylie, you can kind of foresee our future. That concerns me. Smart growth, responsible growth is what we need. We should never settle for less. Smart growth means planning for our community's well-being to ensure that it's safe, healthy, livable, as well as a desirable place to live. This means implementing a 6-month moratorium on large and small subdivisions to prepare for this smart growth, and allow completion of the capital improvements plan, finish revisions of the Kershaw County Comprehensive Plan, and update the ordinances that complement the goals of Kershaw County. Establish a plan for real green spaces and vegetative buffers. Find appropriate ways to manage stormwater runoff properly. Initiate impact fees to cover municipal services, schools, parks, recs, and public safety. This is a necessity for infrastructure. We don't have time to waste on this. And support our industries, agricultural-based industries, poultry, timber, equine, and livestock. The USDA in 2022 said that we are one of 3,056 counties. We are number one. Number one. That's a big feat. We don't want to lose that. Currently, there are 28 farms for sale in Kershaw County. That concerns me. We have 79,000 acres of farmland as of 2017, but we've lost quite a few since then. The top 3 industries in South Carolina are manufacturing, technology, and tourism. And Kershaw County does have tourism to our Revolutionary War Park, as well as with our equine industry, the racetrack, and many other venues in Kershaw County. It is important that we consider creating a public internet site that shows housing development growth and progress so that everybody can see the growth in Kershaw County, not just government officials. It's not a secret. This site should include GPS locations for the number of houses, impacted schools, fire departments, and predicting the number of people or students or the traffic in that area. It can be marked with red as being applications submitted and impact fees paid, yellow as construction is started, and green as construction completed and maintained for a 5-year period. Then you can look at the map and see where you are. Plan. That was one of the number one things my mother taught me. She had a list of plans every single day, and it worked for her. Are we doing a plan like this? Are we planning together, or are we working against each other? Please vote for the moratorium, and please vote for impact fees. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Conto. Ms. Douglas.
Next, we have Thomas Allen speaking on 1045 Highway 1 zoning.
Mr. Allen.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
As I stated last time when we were here for the last meeting, my wife and I moved here from Clemson, South Carolina. I said 6 months, but when we recounted, it was actually 9 months. But we live at 991 Park Road, which is on the corner of Highway 1 and Park Road, going over by the landfill. The property in question that had the proposition is right behind my property. And when I was here last time, I gave out some pictures. I hope you all got a chance to actually take a look at them. But it shows where the property has already been worked, has already been cleared, everything, which I was understanding that that should not have been done before the zoning is completed. And so, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me on that. One of the questions I have is, to myself, is after I got home, after listening to conversation that was in the chambers here, the question was asked to the proposition person that has the proposition up about what would it sound like. The statement was made that it would sound like cutting grass. Okay. Another question was asked, why aren't you doing it where you were living at? The statement was made because they had to shut down because of noise. Cutting grass, noise is two different things. The only thing I'm saying is, when we moved here, and out in Cassett is where we live at, when we moved there with the sanctuary around us where the animals come, the wildlife is there, and we actually get on a bicycle and just ride around. And actually, motorcycle, just walk. We actually walk. I used to be able to walk through to go to the store, Dollar General store, and without having to get on the road. The question I have also, concern I have, is if this zoning is changed, from what I read, anything could be put there, is my understanding. Now, the question was also brought up about hours. The answer was given, whatever y'all tell me I have to do. It was asked about pole barn, a building. Again, what do y'all want us to do? There's no plans here, nor, if I'm understanding correctly, nor do they have to be. And so, and if that doesn't work, what comes in next, behind us? That's a concern that my wife and I have, is what, because when we move here, I'm 62 years old in a few days. The last thing I want to do is have to pick up and move again because of what's around us. And also, if you go up Highway 1, you can see some rough-looking businesses up Highway 1. If that doesn't work out, that can also happen behind my house. And I have a concern about that. I appreciate the consideration y'all having for this vote that y'all have here. All I ask is y'all keep considering. Also, I would ask this question. I put it in the air because I know I can't address you. But has anybody been out there to actually take a look? I'll ask that question. So, but anyway, y'all have a good evening, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
Ms. Douglas.
Next, we have Ted Brunson speaking on impact fees.
Mr. Brunson.
Good evening. This will be a two-part conversation. I came out of Fort Mill in 2019, moved there in 2003. At the time, Fort Mill had already said that they were going to implement new impact fees. Now, I understand that there's a formula based on EMS, fire, things of that nature. But what we saw was what we're seeing down here now, 25 years later. And so what Fort Mill did, and I've actually have the contact name of the attorney that you can talk to, they implemented a $28,000 per single household impact fee. If you had a townhouse, it was $100,000 per townhouse, and then $15,000 for any additional. So if you took the 3,144 that are on the docket right now, that'd be $88 million. And they used that money in Fort Mill to work on the infrastructure. And the only thing I've ever agreed with Mr. Roy was, don't make the been heres pay for the come heres. And that's basically what we're seeing again. There's plenty of time, because if you do it wrong, you always have to go back and fix it. There's plenty of times to do it right. And that's starting with the zoning and things of that nature that we need to look at, or we're going to be in the same place that Fort Mill is in. And in fact, an article came out just the other day about Lancaster having to widen 521 on a 7.5 mile road. That's going to cost approximately $52 million. And this is something that's happened in the last 10 years. So in July 1 of 2016, Fort Mill implemented that 28,000. Two things happened. The cookie cutter homes stopped. The $1 million homes started coming in and buying larger tracts of land to build their houses on, because $28,000 is what their wife would probably put in the toilet seat, or at least their closet. Taxes were equal to what 3 or 4 small homes would be. You had less impact on the infrastructures. I've been talking about impact fees for 2 years, so let's look at that. Here's the other one that's not very comfortable for me at all. It's never the right time to do the wrong thing, and it's never the wrong time to do the right thing. Back in 1984, I was a young salesman working for a $300 million corporation, and I was listed as a witness for a sexual harassment suit. I witnessed, I heard it. The young lady stormed out of the building. 6 weeks later, we got served a suit. I got a call from the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. His name was Mr. Herb Mullinex. And Mr. Mullinex informed me, I wasn't aware of the suit until he informed me, but he said, Mr. Brunson, I don't know if you know that there's a suit, and you've been listed as a witness. Now, the gentleman that was the primary holder was a guy by the name of Bill Hope, one of the best salesmen, one of the best managers that I'd ever had to work with, and actually probably started out me being a successful salesman. So what happened is Bill pinned a young lady against a wall, which I heard. She left. 6 weeks later, a suit was filed. I told basically Mr. Mullinex exactly what had happened. And he said, well, Ted, do you think Bill did it? And I said, well, Mr. Mullinex, you know Bill better than I do. What do you think? Bill said, I'll write the check. We're getting close to those same things. This is not a very comfortable thing to do. The council has an opportunity to do the right thing, even if it's the wrong time. And that's what I expect. That's what the people of Kershaw County expect. Decisions are hard. It doesn't have to be easy, but things have to be done the right way. And that's what we can hope for. Thanks.
Mr. Brunson, does that conclude public comment?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. All right, gentlemen. That takes us to public presentations. We've got Midlands Fatherhood Coalition on the agenda at 6A. This is placed on by Councilman Tucker and Councilman Shoemake. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make the motion that we approve this proclamation. Mr. Chairman?
And I would second.
I think the first one's a presentation. We'll see if they have something else.
It is.
Okay. All right, we've got a second. Any discussion at all, gentlemen? Seeing none, move to a vote. All in favor of the presentation? It's unanimous, Ms. Hannah, by those who are present and voting. Yes, who's the spokesperson? Please come forward. I've got Mr. Ivy, Armstrong, Costin, and Ms. Boyd.
And this is from the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. What is this coming from?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Keith Ivy, Director of Operations for Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. We're a nonprofit organization working through Midlands Fatherhood, the Midlands. And we are proud to be here because we got some great news. I think it's time for us to hear some great news.
Oh,
Good.
Midlands Fatherhood Coalition has been helping fathers succeed in the Midlands for over 20 years. MFC is one of the nation's largest running and most successful fatherhood programs. Engaged fathers are the best way to get the root of the problems and make progress forward, ending poverty, reducing crime, and improving outcomes for our children. Program overview. The core of our program is parenting, healthy relationships, economic mobility, and health. Those core topics we discuss on our weekly peer group sessions where we have our fathers, and to which I want to acknowledge we have some fathers that are enrolled in our program that Mr. Trayvon brought with us. Would you guys raise your hand and stand? These are some of our fathers that are actively involved in our program.
Thank you.
They discuss topics. Yes, yes, yes. They discuss topics with Mr. Trayvon Armstrong at our meeting places, and we discuss these topics because they affect our children, our communities, our schools, the workplace, and we want our fathers to be better. Kershaw County deserves that. So goal setting is one of the key topics and key activities that we discuss in our peer group sessions. Why? Because fathers need to plan. Without a plan, it's a plan to fail. So we discuss their topics. What can they achieve? Do they need to go back to school to get their GED? Go back to get a certification to improve their time to possibly find a job, prolong their career. Case management. Mr. Trayvon Armstrong does case management with each guy that comes through our program, each couple that comes through our program. And it's helpful because it's almost like taking their hands and walking them through certain situations, navigating through this legal system, family court, whatever issues that they're dealing with, he's there, and that's important. Employment services. We have a regional job developer that also identifies second chance employers. Why is that important? Because some of our fathers may have a stripe where they made a mistake way back when. We don't want that to follow them. So we help to find those employers that will dismiss things in the past and help them build a new future. Next. Children with engaged fathers have brighter futures. School readiness. Engaged father and being involved, 43% more likely to earn an A in school, 33% less likely to repeat a grade. Mental health, evaluated levels of physical and mental health, or engaged father being present, it helps to cut all those anxieties that children have. It also betters their problem solvers, more confident, more empathetic, self-esteem. Our young girls that without a dad being involved, we see some of the symptoms of those problems. Teen pregnancy, gang activities, violence, economic stability. We use certain professionals from the banking system to come in and talk about the 5 C's of credit, why that is important. Financial literacy, why that is important. It helps to overall stabilize the family unit through the father. Safer communities. We all want a safer community. We're tired of seeing the stories. We're tired of hearing the stories. And we want to be involved with our fathers so they know that the father in the household will be less likely for their child to be on the streets causing harm or being harmed. So I'm gonna pass this off.
All right, thank you very much, Chairman Connell and Kershaw County Council. Thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm Eleanor Boyd. I've been in the fatherhood space for 7 years, and I work in resource development and external relationships. I'm going to share a little bit with you about the impact of our program. So how do we know it works? I will say the numbers I'm going to share with you are from our Sumter site because that is the site that is serving Kershaw County. But there is a very colorful impact report in your folder that was passed out that gives you the data for all of Midlands Fatherhood Coalition and all of our sites for fiscal year 2024. So this is data, once again, in Sumter from fiscal year 2018 to 2024. So what do we have? Well, in terms of employment and employability, in that time period, we have had 372 fathers gain employment or get a better paying job. We've had 264 fathers complete our job skills training. And we started about a year ago in a partnership with Morris College, and we've had 18 get their micro-credentials or professional certifications through that program. Also, family outcomes that we have experienced from the Sumter site. These are part of our key performance indicators that we monitor. 319 have reported increased time spent with children, and 293 have reported an improved relationship with the mother of the child. We also work with the Department of Social Services very heavily, and since 2019, we have served 103 fathers and families through DSS. And we have also had an 83% success rate in having 85 families basically united, reunited. So, and with a lot of the population that we serve, that is a tremendous success rate. In terms of participants, we have served 1,017 fathers and mothers in some cases. We have also positively impacted 2,506 children. And we have had in Sumter County, $581,924 paid in child support. And we have saved taxpayers, ATI stands for Alternative to Incarceration. So if a father has a child support order, they can be sent to prison because they've defied a court order. But thanks to family court judges, like here in Kershaw County, having the option to send a father through our program, over $3 million in tax money has been saved. I am now going to turn the microphone over to Mr. Trayvon Armstrong, who is the site intervention specialist here in Kershaw County, and he has a lot of important things to share. And we'll also meet some of the fathers.
Thank you. Good evening, County Council members. My name is Trayvon Armstrong, and I'm an intervention specialist for the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. And our organization heavily prides itself on strengthening fathers and engaging them into the lives of their children and empowering them. Tonight, I want to briefly talk about the impact that fatherhood has had in Kershaw, not just as a concept, but as a community-wide investment. You can go back. You're fine. Since October of 2024 this year, I was appointed as the intervention specialist in Kershaw County. My primary goal was to go to the court and have fatherhood presence strongly advocated there, as well as give services. However, even though this had been very good, we noticed an issue when court orders, as Ms. Boyd just stated, is definitely something good to look at as far as is saving taxpayer dollars. However, we were having court-ordered individuals who had a barrier, and that barrier was transportation. They was finding it seemingly difficult to get from here to Sumter. So my directors took a step back, and instead of the participant coming to the fatherhood decided to come to Kershaw County, to the participant. And so that's what we did. We came here in hopes of enrolling these participants. And looking at the disparities and trying to be that change agent. Obviously, encouraging autonomy. A lot of participants came through the program. I can say 2 have graduated, 4 is pending enrollment this week, and 8 is currently enrolled. One of those graduates is here tonight. A little bit later, I'll give him opportunity to speak, if that's okay, Chairman. In November of 2024, I had an office, and I have to say, I am honored to say, that the community partnerships is something that I just love, because it shows that the community is willing to invest into themselves. It shows that the community says that it takes a team, it takes togetherness to get and change lives. And so in doing so, partnerships developed with the DSS, where I now currently have an office in the United Way DSS building, and they constantly refer participants to me through other referrals and Alpha Center. I stayed at United Way, some other ones, DSS, of course, SC Works. And we have on June the 26th, event with Sandhill Medical that's coming up that I'm really excited about. And so, yeah, next slide, please. Thank you. Goals and needs, we have them. And one of the main goals that I'm looking forward this year is serving 40 fathers. That's one of the main goals that I'm looking forward to doing this year. Obviously, identifying financial support for growth and sustainability. One thing is for certain is that we are granting and bringing resources from Sumter to Kershaw. So finding financial support for growth and sustainability is one of them. Grow and develop corporate partnerships for employment opportunities. A lot of times, especially with Judge Rankins, he would court order an individual to me, and he'll give me a timeline, probably 2 months, 3 months. And I kind of like that. I kind of like a challenge. And so we hit the ground running. We hit the ground running. And so that's another goal of mine, is to create more partnerships with employment opportunities. Create new and deeper partnerships with agencies and organizations to support fathers. Because at the end of the day, we like to ask the questions of to peers, hey, what are you doing in the next 2 years? What are you doing in the next 3 years? A lot of time when a father is caught between, paying his bills, his lights, and paying his child support, that's something to look into, not negating his responsibility, of course, but a resource, nevertheless, is something that the father is needing. So without further ado, I would like to bring up that participant, the graduate, who I'm very proud of to introduce. His name is Kenneth Harrison, and enough can be said about him, just 10 out of 10.
Sure, if he's part of your presentation, that's fine. Just so you know, you've got about 3 minutes left on your 15 allotted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, how y'all doing this evening? I'm Kenneth Harrison. I've been a beneficiary of the fatherhood program. I had my first child, I was really young. I was like 17 years old, like most children that dealing with that now, young men of all colors from all neighborhoods. What they tell you is take care of your child, but they don't tell you how. You're grown now, you got babies. I'm 42 years old when I entered this program. I was able to learn a number of different coping skills. I was able to gain full-time employment. I was able to improve my outlook and my view on the situations and places that I've been and how I could impact other fathers. This ain't so much about myself, because I know I'm not a finished product, but this is more about young men and their need for some kind of guidance, their need for someone to say, hey, you need good credit, their need for someone to say, if you can't do this, you can reach out to someone else and they can help you. It's argued about a lot that a woman can go and say, I need some help, and everybody's like, oh, come help me. But if a man says, I need some help, then that makes him less of what he is or something, or, oh, we can't help you, help yourself. The fatherhood program is here to help men, women. My fellow graduating classmate was a woman. She's awesome, and she's grown stride after stride as I have. I ask that you guys please think strongly about it. This is a community situation, and all people in our community need to be paying attention to it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you for your time, for your opportunity to give us, and we would like to follow up and possibly have another meeting behind closed doors if possible for some ideas that we have that could help. So we thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
out tonight. Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, that takes us to item number 7A on the agenda. This is a proclamation regarding South Carolina fathers and families. Mr. Tucker and Mr. Shoemake also have this one on the agenda. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the proclamation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? The vote's unanimous, Ms. Hannah, by those who are present and voting. Mr. Tucker, you still have the floor.
Okay, myself or Mr. Shoemake?
Whoever.
You want to read, and then I'll comment after.
Sure. So we have a proclamation honoring Elevate Fatherhood Month. Whereas fathers represent the foundational element of resilient families, providing love, guidance, and support to their children. And whereas the significant influence of fathers on their children's development is profound, as they impart values, encourage personal growth, and nurture resilience. And whereas the South Carolina Center for Fathers and Families, established in 2002, has emerged as a pivotal source of support, equipping tens of thousands of fathers throughout our state with essential resources and knowledge to fulfill their responsibilities in fatherhood. And whereas the longstanding collaboration between the Center of the South Carolina Department of Social Services, alongside other state, local, and private entities, has facilitated the center's expansion into all 46 counties and the enhancement of innovative programs designed to better serve a greater number of fathers. And whereas, when fathers take an active role in leading and engaging their children, these young individuals thrive in social, emotional, and academic domains. And whereas, the center has successfully supported, developed, and broadened its Father 365 statewide network of regional fatherhood organizations that directly impact thousands of fathers and families every year. And whereas, the center continues to exemplify a model for fatherhood initiatives on a national level. And whereas, the month of June presents an opportunity for all citizens of our county to celebrate and honor the essence of fatherhood, acknowledging the unwavering efforts of fathers in shaping the future of our communities. And now, therefore, we, the County Council for Kershaw County, South Carolina, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2025 as Elevate Fatherhood Month throughout the county, and encourage all citizens in Kershaw County, South Carolina, to express their gratitude for the fathers in their lives. This initiative aims to celebrate the significant contribution of fathers and to promote their active involvement in the lives of their children. Such involvement is essential for enhancing the well-being of young individuals, cultivating responsible citizens, and strengthening families and communities across our county.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemake. Any further discussion, or is there anyone here to receive the proclamation tonight?
Yes, I think they're out there in the audience, so after the vote, if you want to call them up, we can present.
Can we just have?
We just had to vote.
Okay, well, we can present.
Yes, let's call up who you want to.
Yes, so, how you doing there, Reb? Bring up everyone who's a part of the Fatherhood Initiative, and let's take a photo. Come on through.
Y'all can come right on up. There's a little door on the side.
No, I'm gonna stand up here. Stand up here.
Then they'll be comparing you to your beauty, which I don't know. It's hard to have. It's been a tough life for you.
Y'all make me look real tall. All right. All right, 1, 2, 3.5. I guess he's got
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Tucker, we have one comment from one of the members of the center. Mr. Jones, you have a point of order?
Well, I really want to just ask a question about the group.
Okay.
The young man that was up here speaking a while ago.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yeah, let me ask you, when I was jail administrator, and that point of order, I hope you'll let me do this. When I was jail administrator, the biggest thing used to really upset me was family court would send dads to jail, which they deserved it, but yet we couldn't get them to do an alternative program, because if you're in jail, you're getting 3 hots and a cot a day, you can't pay your child support, so when you get out, bam, you go right back to jail. It's like a vicious system. And are you working on that, or do you see anything, possibilities in getting into that area of it by working with the family court judges?
So there is a bill, and it's interesting that you brought that up. It was another judge, but specifically Judge Rankins is privy to it, that the bill is jobs not over jail, jobs not jail. And that bill is in state as of 2025, if I'm not mistaken. As of 2025, that the judge has the ability to court order them to our program.
Yes.
Now, granted, it's not saving grace. It doesn't mean that we're going to be, you and I cannot say when the epiphany would actually come to play.
No, I've been there.
However, it does give them an opportunity to say, you got 2 to 3 months here. You can do it with me, and we can actually move, because the judge wants to see some progress.
Or they do a life sentence with the judge, because they're not going to be able to pay it. They get ruled right back into court, and then go right back to jail. It's just a vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about this, family court judges think they're God anyway. So bottom line is, I hope that you'll be able to work with them, and I'm sure you are doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Armstrong. Mr.
Wesley.
Mr. Wesley with the
Yes, I'm
center.
with South Carolina Center for Fathers and Family, and the Senior
Yes, sir.
Program Manager. I just want to say thank each one of you guys for, acknowledging the fatherhood on this Elevation Month, and Millions Fatherhood from being here tonight, serving the fathers in Kershaw County. Trayvon has done a remarkable job serving the fathers here in Camden, because this is my hometown, so I represent. Right. So I'm glad that fatherhood is in Camden. I just hope that you guys continue to support this movement, because fathers come with different barriers. Although we have a father program, we have mothers in our program as well, and it's a holistic approach like no other program. So please take your time to continue to support Millions Fatherhood Coalition as they serve Kershaw County events. If you see Trayvon at the events, go and give him a handshake, because this is not an easy work, working alongside the fathers. As Jimmy Jones just said about the barriers that's already created for fathers. One thing that you don't know, Millions Fatherhood Coalition do go behind the fence in Sumter County to meet fathers before they get released. So being proactive and also helping them reunite with their families as they get released. But once again, thank you for elevating fatherhood, and we look forward to conversations after today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wesley. Council members, any other comments or questions?
I just want to say, Mr. Chairman, thank you to the entire group. Presentation was awesome. It's good to hear good testimonies and successful stories, and y'all just keep pushing. Don't let anyone slow you down. It's Father's Day this coming weekend, and we like to all feel like a king for a day, if nothing else. Not that we all deserve it, but we like to feel that way. And I wish you nothing but Godspeed. If there's anything that this body, myself, can do, please reach out, and I will get with Ms. Hannah to get some contact information so we can meet later.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker and Mr. Shoemake. And thank you to the group as well. All right, gentlemen, that moves us to the executive session items we previously discussed. This would be a motion to go into executive session on, really, it's 3 matters, 2 kind of combined into one, related to legal advice and a personnel matter. The moratorium-related legal advice and related issues would come first, personnel matter second. This would all be under SC Code 30-4-70 and that authority. Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion that we go into executive session for those
Mr.
matters.
Shoemake has the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Tomlinson. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Can we state the names of who we're inviting in for the record, please?
Yes, we're going to invite in Mr. Ned Towle, Chairman of the Planning Commission, Mr. Ross Apple, Attorney regarding moratorium-related issues. That will be on the first one, and then on the second one, we have another attorney, Mr. Fred Williams, and I'll have Mr. Templer come in for the first one and start from there.
Okay, thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jones, yes.
I would like to extend that to the other 2 commissioners that are here to come in with Mr. Towle, and so that they can be in there as well and here, because all 3 of them have been working on this project, and I think it'd be it shows a good hand, a good faith on our part to hear all three of them. If I was Mr. Towle, I probably wouldn't walk in executive session with all of us by himself.
Mr. Jones, I personally have no objection to that at all for the presentation portion that he would be present for.
So I'm asking you, during the time we discussed it in executive session, I thought we said we were going to talk to him in executive session.
We are.
Okay. I'd like to extend the invitation to the other two that are here as well.
Any objection from council?
I don't have any.
No objection? I'll call them in as well.
Thank you.
Assuming they'll come, and I don't have to wrestle you in there, do I?
Kristen, who
All right.
Did that move?
call for the vote?
We're going to call for a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Ms. Hannah, it's unanimous by those who are present and voting. We're in executive session.
When I go back, I see what to say. This is just a breakout room. It just keeps the call list.
Okay, gotcha.
Razzle calls in.
Hey, don't let them come be on out there.
No. Everything's muted and that's what it's by itself.
This should be quick.
All right.
We'll make it a habit.
I enjoyed the class last year too. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, I guess you're all in here.
All right.
All right, we got a quorum. Seek a motion to exit executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We got a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of exiting executive session, raise your hand. Ms. Hannah, it's unanimous by those who are present and voting. And that puts us back on the agenda. So we are now at item 9A, impact fees. Make a motion that we move.
We
this-
haven't approved the minutes, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
excuse, I'm sorry, I had so many squiggles going through it. Item number 8, approval of minutes. Mr. Shoemaker, you have the motion?
I move that we approve the minutes.
All right, is there a second? Got a second? Any discussion at all? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Ms. Hannah. Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. All right, that takes us to item number 9A, impact fees. I placed this on the agenda. I'll make a motion that we discuss impact fees and a general update amongst ourselves and from staff.
Yes, second that, Mr. Chairman.
We've got a second, it's on the floor. And it's not going to require any vote necessarily, just for discussion. February 2022 is when I recall last voting in favor of doing a study for impact fees. There's a statutorily required study that has to be done before you would assess them, and there's a formula that applies. And just want to get an update from staff so we can get this on an appropriate agenda with language as soon as possible. Do you have any update, Mr. Templer?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of council, I do. We have, for next meeting, we have Matt Noonkeister that will be here. He's been our consultant. He's also worked with the City of Camden on their impact fee. He will be here to do a presentation. He's already done a presentation to the Planning Commission that received a favorable outcome from the Planning Commission. So you're right, this started on June 14th of 2022. The fee was completed in 23, and it was subsequently updated due to some delays, re-updated or updated and brought up on the 11th of October in 24. So we have compiled a CIP for this. We've identified the departments that would benefit from this impact fee. Of course, there's several entities that would benefit from this impact fee in terms of like fire EMS, but then they have to be regionally, and so it's not countywide. So when you look at the money that comes from these impact fees, they have to be identified for expansion of the service, not replacement or anything that has to correlate with growth of the county. So with recreation and solid waste as one of the, are two of the destinations for the impact fees, because we can clearly put growth to those services where there's a burden, and then also we can show expansion. So through our CIP, we have identified some projects within recreation, and with those, and solid waste, and with those two departments, it does not have to be regionally or in a focused area. They can be countywide, so there's opportunity to address some projects throughout as it relates to solid waste. Solid waste, to me, from an operational standpoint, is where we get pushed the most in terms of our services, because it's just garbage. We are just handling so much residential and C&D, and just from the construction, the added houses, and just everything that you would imagine to come with a new home as it relates to garbage. So we are in a good position for that, and Matt will be here next meeting, and he will give a more robust overview. So.
Thank you for that update, Mr. Templer. Any other discussion or questions, council members? I'll just mention it's statutorily prescribed, and so I think the amount would be $2,200 or something like that, roughly per house.
Right.
$2,300? Okay, $2,300. I know that school districts can do much higher amounts, and we had talked about sending a letter to the school district if they want to piggyback on the data developed in our study. They could update their own and perhaps do a higher impact fee study, because they have greater, I guess, discretion in assessing a higher amount related to schools.
Right.
All right. Well,
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, Mr.
Mr. Chair,
Jones.
maybe you can answer it, or Mr. Templer. So exactly, what is the benefit? What are you saying the benefit of the impact fee will be? What do you plan to achieve out of that?
It would, I mean, just for one, with solid waste, I would look at expanding the Elgin Convenience Center. And by expanding, I would add more compactors, increase the footprint. We own a larger footprint than what we actually use, so I would expand our capability for compactors for residential waste, what we call MSW, your like kitchen trash, household trash. That is absolutely our busiest site, so the ability to use these fees for new rooftops
That's what the
coming in.
that's what the solid waste fee pays for, doesn't it? I mean, it
Goes
it-
towards.
Barely.
It goes towards, I mean, and what are we raising that to? That's being raised in this current budget, isn't it?
Yeah, we need to raise that because we've been behind for a while.
Yeah, what exactly are we raising it to, the solid waste fee?
We cut that in our amendment, so I'm trying to think off the top of my head, Mr. Jones, because we end up, when we increased the millage to 3.5, we took a half a mil and put towards solid waste.
Okay,
So I think it cut it $5 and I want to say 30 or 60 cent. I can't remember the exact numbers.
From the increase
From the
requested?
increase that we were going to increase it.
Okay, but we don't know what the increase is
I
exactly.
think it's like $32, if I'm not mistaken, or 24, so
Okay.
32, and so it's now it's 27.60. It was 5.30, so
Increase,
right.
2760 increase.
No, that's not what's the
solid
increase?
waste.
Right, what's the increase?
It was 32 originally.
Right.
Right, and take the half a mil off, took 5.30 off, which made it 27.60.
Then this impact fee will be how much?
2,300 approximately per home. So it just depends on how many people pull permits to bill. And then that would go towards solid waste. And what was the other one, Danny? Recreation, you said?
Recreation.
And Mr. Tucker, I was just trying to get clarification.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And I didn't mean to jump in, Mr. Administrator, but, you know, we've had some concerns with solid waste since your existence. So it's just one of those things that as the county grows, it doesn't get better unless you absolutely have a plan.
And when these fees are calculated, and Matt can speak to this more next time, but any kind of revenue stream that comes in for these particular departments is backed out. So that lowers our ability to have a higher impact fee. So that fee is taken in consideration.
Okay. And I would say too, because we had this discussion, this is getting a little bit on the Finance Committee report, but we talked with staff and, you know, we run a lot of our recycle centers with part-time help. And that's hard because you're not going to pay me crumbs and get me abused at the same time. And what I mean by that, if I'm working part-time and you've got people coming in, and they're agitated and they're jacked up on whatever problems they have in life, and they go to say ugly things, I'm going to tell you to take this job and shove it because it's part-time and I can find me another. So staff is looking at, see, can we put some more full-time people into these facilities, and then maybe we'll have a little bit better TLC and ownership from our employees.
Can I share this, if the chair doesn't mind? Can I share something with you? Down in Surfside Beach, they had their recycling center. I pulled in there. Do you know the employees, they were so polite, so nice, so positive. They even asked to help take the trash out. I told them no, I was physically able to do it. Thank you very much. But bottom line is that they were, and I think I had mentioned that to Mr. Templer, the attitude, the personalities, I mean, you felt welcomed when you went in there.
Well, you know, and I know we can't do a lot of things without part-time help, but I also believe when you have people that's full-time that's getting benefits and more bang for the buck, go a little bit above and beyond most of the time. So that's where that conversation sort of came from. So
Thank you. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any further discussion, any more questions? All right, we have it on the agenda for consideration for next meeting. Thank you, Mr. Templer. All right, if I can read through my own scribble here, I think we've got item number 10A is the next item on the agenda. This is going to be a second
I
reading.
think we have Finance Committee report.
Finance Committee report. Yeah, I couldn't read through my own scribble. Mr. Tucker, do you have a motion?
Yes, I have a motion that we be able to brief council and the public with our finance meeting from last week, please.
All right, we have a second from.
Second.
Mr. Schumate.
Okay.
It's on the floor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman and council members. We met last week, I believe it was Wednesday. I had a very productive meeting, and I'll let my colleagues chime in. That's Mr. Schumate and Mr. Thomason here in just a second. So what we made sure of was the adjustment we made on the budget for 4 mills that were submitted by staff down to 3.5, that we had the deduction of the half a mil out, and cuts were made by staff, bless you, cuts were made by staff because the funds were not there. One of them happened to be one of our detention center positions. We had some contract services and other things that were taken out. With that being said, the budget that is submitted next week into the package will be with the 3.5 mil increase in the fees that we passed 2 weeks ago. So I want to make you aware of that. In that, we got a request from staff that we will be having some debt millage that we need, that we can, which will be revenue neutral, roll over to operational service. So that's going to come as a recommendation from Finance Committee. No cost to the taxpayers, no increase in taxes. We're changing departments on where this is coming from, and this is going to help put back in the shortage where we had to cut the detention center budget. We had a $95,000 increase in our P&L insurance. It's for a new HR position, so we can try to meet our target for 1 HR per 100 employees. And then we've got some contract services that we need to put in for some software to allow digital budgeting and financial reporting. With that equals about $133,000, which is roughly right at that mill. We were going off about, $333,000. And the mill is worth about $330 if you collect 98% of what the value is. So that is some of the things we talked about. We happened to talk about the impact fees. We've already covered that in the meeting. And trying to think what else discussion did we have. You remember, Mr. Schumate? Yes, so we talked about the moratorium. So we had asked staff several things to look into, which was how other counties and municipalities did moratoriums. And they did do some research, thanks, Ms. Lauren, on Anderson County and Lexington County. And in that report back, it showed where they did take the 6 months of the moratorium to set it, and then it went into play, and they came out a lot better off, and it wasn't a, what's the word I want to say? Don't have the cost, the total cost, because we couldn't find that anywhere, but it wasn't a thing that where it cost the county a tremendous amount of money because it wasn't planned. So just wanted to put that out. Anderson County was countywide for 60 days, and they were able to get things done. The main problem with the moratorium, I think that most of us are struggling with, is what are we going to do or accomplish within that time period? So that's why the Finance Committee was trying to make sure that we had what we needed and that we're heading in that direction where we can accomplish our goals. So with that, I'll ask my colleagues, Mr. Thomason and Mr. Schumate, do you have anything that you want to add?
I don't have anything else. Thank you for that update and all of staff's hard work. That was a lot of time and energy, and appreciate my colleagues for being present there.
I have nothing to add. We wore matching shirts today, so you have to look at our name tag to know who's who.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes our report.
Thank you for the report, gentlemen. Thank you for the report. All right, now, back on to 10A. Ordinances is the first ordinance, second reading. I don't think we need any summary from staff on this one. This is second reading to amend the official zoning map regarding the piece of property cited in the packet. Is there a motion?
Make a motion. Where we at now? Second reading?
Second reading, this is a 10A, second reading on a rezoning
Oh,
of
no.
official zoning map. First reading was May 27, 2025. Is there a motion? Seeing no motion, it does not pass second reading.
If we don't have a motion, I'll make it.
Is it, do we have somebody
Russell?
online?
Russell?
Mr. Brown, you online?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can barely hear you. Did you say you make a motion on 10A?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Seeing no second, it does not pass second reading. That takes us to item number,
Can we find out what time he came on, please? Do we know?
yeah, Russell, what time did you get on?
13 minutes and 22 seconds you got.
Oh,
What did he say?
is it 19 minutes?
Hey, Russell, I don't know what you got equipment-wise. It's very, very hard to hear you, just so you know.
Okay, how about any better now?
Yes.
A little better.
A little bit better, all right. This takes us to item number 10B on the agenda, second reading regarding Project NAM and a special source revenue credit agreement. Any recap needed by council at all before we have a motion?
What is this?
Project NAM, it's an economic development project, suggests, proposes $12 million in investment and at least 50 jobs. Special source revenue credit agreement.
I make the motion that we pass second reading, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we got a motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Shoemaker, you have the second. Mr. Tucker, you have the floor.
I just once again want to thank our economic development group. I think he was here, Mr. Burgess. Is he still here? There we go.
Yeah, there he is.
For all his fine work and his endeavors, and look forward to this taking third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Any further comments or discussion?
Have none.
Yeah, thankful to staff as well in working on this. We've had some great hits recently on economic development in 2025, so appreciate that. All right, for second reading, we'll move 10B to a vote. We'll go first online. Mr. Braswell, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
That's a yes. And then for all those who are present, raise your hand if you're in favor. And it's unanimously in favor for those who are present. It passes second reading. All right, this takes us to item number 10C on the agenda. This is second reading of a temporary moratorium in Kershaw County. First reading was May 27, 2025, originally placed on the agenda by Councilman Jones and Vice Chair Russell Brazel. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we adopt second reading of the moratorium agenda.
All right, you've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
You got a second. Mr. Shoemaker, you have the floor.
Yeah, so a couple of things. There's been a lot of discussion about this tonight, particularly with the inclusion of small subdivisions. Obviously, it was a little, our last meeting was a bit spicy, but government's supposed to be messy, as I like to say. Had a chance to talk to Councilman Brazel directly, and then independently talk to Councilman Tomlinson. And at the sort of suggestion of Chairman Connell, to try to come up with a compromise play that kind of worked for everybody. We're advancing second reading tonight as is. However, and Councilman Brazel, I know will chime in after Councilman Tomlinson. What we would like to do is, after this reading, we have some ideas where we might be able to adjust, or at least propose adjusting the definition of what a small subdivision is. So that it has a smaller, right now, a small subdivision is 9 lots or less. I was thinking about personally proposing an idea where we would have small subdivisions redefined to maybe say 5 or less. And then a major subdivision would be 6 or more. And then we, perhaps amending on third reading the ordinance into major subdivision only. So again, those are just my ideas. I only had a chance to talk to Councilman Brazel about that today. So basically what I'm proposing now to everyone is Councilman Brazel, Councilman Tomlinson, and I have all independently spoken. We think we have a good faith effort to sit down, obviously not 4 of us, but for the 2 or 3 of us to sit down and come up with a compromise so that we can get something at the request of Chairman Connell that is more receptive of property rights, addresses some of those issues that were raised here today, and gets us something that we can sort of all get on board with for third reading. So that is what we had talked about, and my hope is we can get something that everybody or at least most of us can get on board with, that does honor those small business owners.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemake.
Thompson.
I know that Mr. Brazel has limited time, so I'll yield my time. Mr. Shoemake handled just about everything I wanted to say. I'll yield my time to Mr. Brazel, so you can go ahead, Russell.
Mr. Brazel, have any comments or questions?
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Shoemate, Tomlinson. Thank you for the conversation. So my major sticking point has been the inclusion of the minor subdivisions. And we've had some positive conversations that I think can lead us in a good direction for our third reading. It's a very sensitive issue. We've got so many people who've built Kershaw County that were being thrown in the mix with home building and major development. Those are two different things. As we see family businesses work and grow versus large national builders building 300, 400, 500 lot subdivisions, it's just apples and oranges. So I appreciate the efforts and I appreciate the conversations, and I look forward to working with you all on an amendment that we can hopefully get passed for our third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Brazel. Any further comments or discussion? Any questions? Council members?
Yes, I have to.
Mr. Jones.
I just want to say, when I first made my proposal, it was major subdivisions only. That's what I liked. That's what I'm going to stand by, or I was standing by. I voted for the amendment to carry it on through the second reading so we can maybe massage and have some conversation about it and make it better. My intention was to vote against it tonight because I don't like what was presented with the small subdivisions, no pun intended. But after talking with these guys a little bit, I feel like that they're willing to compromise to some degree to work with these other folks in the community, like David, who got up here and spoke tonight. He made some valid points. But our citizens also make valid points with the fact we've got to do something. So I just want to say to my colleagues, I appreciate the fact that Councilman Thomason and Shoemake and Brazel have talked about this. They've gotten together, and I feel like there's some hope for us to have a successful third reading. I am voting on this tonight just to carry it through only, to keep the conversation going, for us to make it better. But I can tell you now, I like the things that y'all had talked about and said, and I think it's a good compromise. I just want to make that clear before I vote tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Because I was basically going to walk out here before I even vote. I was so irritated. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any further questions or comments? All right, I've got a few. I voted against this last time, and I still retain the same concerns about private property rights. Somehow, we're okay with one house being built, and that respects private property rights, but all of a sudden, you split it into two lots, and we've got issues. And in some sense, since the council seems absolutely set on having a moratorium, my goal at this point is to try to make it the smallest possible invasion of private property rights. And so I'll probably support it tonight on second reading with the understanding that I have questions about funding, study timelines based on the actual stated legislation requiring certain types of studies, how long those would take versus the publicly promised 6 months, whether or not we actually have to have or need a river overlay corridor study based on legal advice we received recently. And then just again, I have to harp on private property rights. I mean, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to me, this is a core fundamental liberty issue, is what can you do with your property? I know technically we're saying, oh, well, this isn't a takings. It's a short period of time. It's only 6 months. But I've gotten so many calls since first meeting about folks who have subcontractors that will rely on this type of work, particularly in the minor subdivision space. So many questions and comments from people who are saying, you know, I planned on retiring next year. I wanted to subdivide some land and sell it. That's the right time for me. Just because we do this, it doesn't mean people's retirement clock or choice regarding their property stops. And so if we're going to impact people's private property rights, again, I think we have to really put forth some strong justifications. And personally, I would like to see and hope at some point we can move to a narrower area that lines up with these really dense or suspected to be dense corridors that are in some proximity to sewer or high traffic areas, so that we're using the least restrictive means to impact people's private property rights and leaving everybody else alone. But that's what I have to say about it on second reading. Any other questions or comments?
I think you and I are similar in our concerns, Mr. Cornell.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Okay, we'll call it for a vote. We'll go remote first. Mr. Brazel, how do you vote? On second reading, 10C.
I vote yes.
That's a yes. And then for those who are in person, all in favor, raise your hand. We've got Mr. Shoemake, Connell, Tomlinson, and Jones in favor. All opposed? We got Mr. Tucker opposed. For the record, Ms. Hannah, thank you. All right, gentlemen, that takes us to item number 10D. This is a first reading, in title only. This is a memorandum of agreement regarding Kershaw County Library and Department of Aging. Mr. Templer, do you have any summary for us?
Just a brief summary that this, Mr. Chairman, members of council, this would allow us to expand some of our site capabilities at the library with the Department of, South Carolina Department of Aging. I have Amy Schofield here for any other deeper questions or more complex questions, but.
Well, it's in title only, so we'll see more substantive information on second reading. But with that background, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve in title only for the approval of the, what I want to say, memorandum of agreement between the library and aging.
Correct. Okay, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We've got a second from Mr. Tomlinson. You've got the floor, Mr. Tucker.
Like you said, it's in title only, and Ms. Amy's out there shaking her head, and she is a very good example, blessing of Kershaw County. I know she won't make any mistakes as far as what is in best for us and trying to provide to the citizens of Kershaw County. So I thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to hearing more on how this partnership is going to work on second reading. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Mr. Tomlinson, you have the second?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have anything to add on this. I'm glad you are here, though. It did remind me that I received an email 2 days ago that my 2 children's library books are due tomorrow. So I really appreciate that, and I will be dropping the 2 books back off and grabbing 2 more. So,
If I could, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones.
We've got a wonderful librarian. Is she in here?
Yes, Ms. Amy's right there.
I thought that was your voice. I couldn't see you through the podium. But thank you for all you do. I really mean that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any other comments? All right. On first reading, we'll move it to a vote. This is 10D. Is Mr. Brazel still on the line? Oh, he's hopped off. Okay. So back to the old faithful here. All those in person, raise your hand if you're in favor. Ms. Hannah, it's unanimous by those who are voting in person. It passes first reading in title only. This takes us to item number 10E on the agenda. This is authorization really for the administrator to enter into some negotiations regarding a particular piece of property. Any background at all, Mr. Administrator, you can give for us before we have a motion?
Just briefly, this would be the Dominion property we have where EMS is currently housed. We since found another location, a more optimal location. It was always the location we wanted to be at from years back, so this is just an opportunity to offload this property and use that money for the new facility.
Thank you for that update. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we authorize in title only for the sale of that property there, EMS station on.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Shoemake. Mr. Tucker, you got the first.
Give some good clarifications, Mr. Tucker, please.
Sir?
Give some good clarification on it.
Well, it's in title only, but as the administrator just said, it's property that we own. I'm pretty sure he's already got his eye on a potential buyer, and we need to liquidate this so we can do our renovations at our new property that we've already voted on to move EMS up off of Battleship Road and keep trucking. Am I correct by saying that, Mr. Templer? That's in plain English.
Well, thank you. I'm a plain English kind of guy.
Any further
Had
discussion?
no discussion on this whatsoever.
Okay, and of course, any potential sale for a property like this will have to come before us for ultimate approval with numbers, and we'll make the decision on what's best for the county. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, let's move it to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous by those who are present and voting. Ms. Hannah? All right, y'all hold my hand as a left-handed male attorney. I know my handwriting's supposed to be even worse than a left-handed male doctor, but I'm on number 11, resolutions for the amendment. Am I right? Okay. All right, we got it. So item number 11, new 11 on the agenda, resolutions. This is regarding the Santee Lynch's COG and the time-sensitive grant matter or support letter placed on by Mr. Tucker. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution for the safe streets for the COG.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. Mr. Tucker, you have the floor.
Thank you. I want to say thank y'all for allowing us to be on the agenda. At this time, I would like to read the resolution on what it says. You should have a copy at your desk because it did not make the agenda packet. A resolution by Kershaw County Council authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Natural Safe Streets and Roads for All programs and other matters related thereto, whereas Kershaw County places a high priority on the safety of its roadways for all residents and visitors, including motorists, commercial vehicle operators, pedestrians, pedal-cyclists, public transportation riders, and whereas the development of safe streets for all safety action plans, demonstration projects represents an important step toward reducing serious injuries and fatalities on county roads. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the Kershaw County Council authorizes, supports the submission of a safe streets for all applications on behalf of Kershaw County. Kershaw County will participate toward the completion of successful safety action plan and demonstrations projects, including contributing a staff time, serving on necessary committees and other input. And comments to provide $200,000 in local matching funds in support of the project. So we have matching funds here, but we can get up to, I think it's over $1 million here for this total grant, depends on what we get awarded. So that is my motion, and, well, I already made my motion. That is my reasoning for this resolution tonight.
Okay. Mr. Shoemaker, you have the second?
I think Brent did. You did. You did.
No, I had the second, but I'm good. I've did
Okay.
nothing to
Any
add.
other comments or questions?
Mr. Tucker, just to be clear, so 200,000 of matching funds up to $1 million
Right.
Of actual
Yeah, because it's
expenditures.
80/20.
Okay.
So that I think that makes a little bit more sense when I say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, so, it could be less, but it's up to that. I hope we get it all. This would be for the entire county, but I know there's a study that took place west of the Wateree on some of the roads that are badly needing some help to ensure that they're safer, if it's nothing more than what they did right there by the new subdivision they built before you get to Powers Funeral Home on the left, where Trooper Gobble was in that accident, that fatality. They put a center turn lane there, and I'm gonna tell you, that is tremendous help if you're coming off of Magnolia or one of those side streets, or you're trying to turn into that housing development, making a left. It has been truly a tremendous help. So I'm hoping that we can do more smaller projects, because, $1 million don't go far when you're talking about paving and road construction, things of that nature, but this can help.
Thank you. If there's no other comments or questions or issues to bring up, I just wanted to mention that this is one of the good moves for going to the Santee Lynch's COG. If this was the CM COG that we were trying to draw funds from, it wouldn't have happened. I mean, we looked at the data, and it was 20 years since we had received a substantial funding for any project related to our roadways. And here, you have the chairman of the SL COG saying, we need to make sure we're eligible for the grant. You're in tune. We need the support letter in time to be eligible for the grant. Let's try to get some money for West Wateree. That hadn't happened for 20 years. And so that was ultimately a good move. It took a lot of effort and a lot of work from the state delegation, from DOT and many others, commissioners, and this council. But I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chairman.
No further comments or discussion? All right, let's move it to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Ms. Hannah, it's unanimous by those who are present. Mr. Jones, just for the record, has stepped out for a moment. All right, that takes us to, we'll call it 12A, under appointments, Airport Commission, placed on by Councilman Brant Tomlinson.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, I'm going to hold off on my airport commission appointment for this evening. Just wanted to have a few more conversations, kind of going forward, and there's some good candidates in there, so I'm going to hold off.
Is that in the form of a motion to defer to the next meeting and?
Yes, let's hold off and defer to next meeting.
Okay. You got a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second this motion.
You got a second?
Yield.
It sounds like you've already stated your reasons. Any further discussion?
There we go.
All in favor? And it is deferred to next meeting. The next one, we'll call it 12B, Kershaw Health District, District Number 2, placed on the agenda by Councilman Tucker.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I would like to, at this time, you should have had it in your package last time, to make a motion to reappoint Mr. Nick Moore to our Kershaw Health District Board. Nick has served and has served well. I think Nick is actually chairing the finance there, but he's retired, got plenty of time, and he's a very inquisitive guy. I won't call him nosy. So he's a busybody, but he's a busybody in a good way. And I think that with all the projects and things that we have going on and the partnerships with the Health Service District, that his expertise and his experience is needed on this board. And I would ask for y'all's support tonight to reappoint him.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
Do we need a
Okay.
second?
Yeah, what?
That was a long motion, wasn't it?
Who's the
Second.
I'll second.
All right, we've got 2 seconds. We'll take Mr. Shoemaker as the second.
There you go.
I'll just say that the Health Services District has been doing great work between Beechwood and the funding that they now generate for recurring revenue, and by their charter are required to cycle it back into the county for health-related purposes is just great. They're doing good work over there. Nick is definitely included in that, and so I'll support it as well. If there's no other comments or questions, let's move it to a vote. All in favor? Ms. Hannah, it's unanimous by those who are voting and present. Mr. Jones is still out of the room. All right, that takes us to council member briefings. Mr. Tomlinson, I'll just start to my left.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to be short and sweet. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Appreciate my colleagues and all the good conversations we've had. We've had a lot of things that we've worked on over the past couple months, and it's always exciting to get one, good public input, good community involvement, and then us sitting up here and having good conversations. To close, I wanted to congratulate the Kershaw County 8U baseball all-star team. So my son and his 11 other friends went to Hartsville and competed this past weekend. We came up short last night. We got home about 10:40, but we competed in the championship game of the regional tournament and ended up getting beat or bested by Hartsville by a little bit. And congratulations to them. They're going on to the state tournament, but it was one of the best 8U all-star runs that Kershaw County's ever had. So congratulations to a group of 12 little kids, 8-year-olds.
Thank you, Mr. Tomlinson, and congratulations. Mr. Shoemaker.
Yeah, just a couple very quick things. Also, congratulations, Coach Tomlinson, because I know you were a coach on that team. So it's my favorite joke, but I'll say it again. Coach Tomlinson, they do coach's pitch, and Coach Tomlinson holds the strikeout record. So.
That's a true story.
It's been a long meeting. I just want to thank some of the folks in the room and some are not in the room who make all this possible, and it's definitely not us, starting with obviously Miss Hannah, who, by the way, we omitted last meeting. We were talking about all the various graduations. Her son also graduated high school last month, so congratulations, and I apologize for that oversight. Tyler, who I know is not in the room, who is our budget whiz. If I was going to get a tattoo of someone, it would probably be my wife's name or my kids' names, but very close on the list is Tyler, because he is amazing at what he does, and without his help, the finance committee would be pretty rudderless. So Tyler, wherever you are, hopefully at home sleeping, thank you. Will Glover, Lauren Reeder, and Gerald, obviously the sort of core of the administrative team that pushes this county forward on a daily basis. Thank you. And of course, last but not least, our county administrator, Danny Templar, who is the captain of this ship and who I have every ounce of faith in and look forward to his long continued service to this county. And that's all that I have. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. Mr. Tucker, any
Thank
report?
you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Very briefly here. Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. And I just want to say ditto to the staff and county administrator and just know that we appreciate you, and we've got you. And I say that with a sincere heart, because your work speaks for yourself, and when people truly believe in what you do, they show it. It should not just be talk, they show it. So with that, I want to say I'm very interested in, Ms. Hannah, if you can connect me with the fatherhood, Midlands fatherhood information sometime soon. I'd like to get with them and see what other good programs or what help we can do as Kershaw County to improve services here, especially Mr. Templer, like maybe getting into our jails. If they're into the detention centers down there, we probably should be looking at something along those lines as well. So that's something to look forward to. And I got a text today, and it was actually a devotion that I want to share with you. And it came from one of my colleagues who's not here tonight, and it talked about fatherhood. Ironically, we're talking about that tonight. Father's Day is this Sunday, so I would say happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And it talked about how you not only need to be a father, but you need to show and display your fatherhood. And the thing that I always talk about with my son and relatives and other nieces and nephews, you don't have to birth a child or plant a seed for you to be a mother or a father. It's how you treat people, how you steer them, how you guide them, how you love them. So just because you weren't fortunate enough to have children doesn't mean that you don't have children, because I'm going to have children until I die. I just know that. I love young people, and that's where my heart pours out to. So be careful about what you do, how you do it, because there's always someone looking up to you. And enjoy your day, Sunday, fathers. And that concludes my report.
Sammy's Father's Day greetings from both of us.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker.
You're welcome.
And for the quip, Mr. Shoemaker. All right, just a few things to share. Reminder that June 17th is the next meeting. We've got that scheduled. That will be third reading of the budget. We've been talking about it for over a month and a half, plus due to travel schedules, as naturally occurs for the council, the June 24th meeting has been canceled, and that was done previously by vote in open session. So June 17th is the next meeting, and we will address third reading of the budget. Exciting update I wanted to share with you. Central Carolina has been growing in the community, and it's one of the lifelines for workforce and bringing good jobs to the community, letting people who live here and have to travel out have an opportunity to either get trained locally or have an opportunity to work and draw new employers in. In the state budget, we had worked quite vigorously with the chairman of that board for Central Carolina, Paul Napper, and Speaker Merle Smith has been very supportive. There was previously $10 million allotted over the last couple of years in the state budget. So that was a total of 20, and we just found out that in the state budget, we've got another $5 million coming for an expansion project that will happen at 521 in Camden. This will be specific in some ways to particular companies who I just can't say yet for various reasons, but whenever those contracts are approved and out, it'll be exciting to announce and talk about, but making Kershaw County a regional training facility for some of the best brands and companies in the world is going to be very exciting. And then expanding mechatronic programming and other opportunities at Central Carolina. That campus is just going to be great for the Kershaw County students who are graduating here. So now we've got $25 million, and we may ask for a little bit more next year based on the scope and commitment of other companies that want to come in. And so that's exciting for education, that's exciting for economic development, and I'm just thankful for all those who are involved in the support of this council and the board for Central Carolina, particularly Chairman Napper and Speaker Smith, in supporting Central Carolina in Kershaw County. I want to mention the Kershaw County Girls Basketball Association. They've got a camp going on right now. This is just volunteers that put it together over at Stover. They had 42 girls show up, and they have another camp in July. This is starting to be a tradition where the girls show up and are finding confidence in themselves through the game of basketball. If you can tell, I'm big boned and never had the physique or inclination to play basketball. Wrestling was always during basketball season, so that's where I landed. But it's amazing to see these girls who are shy and timid and otherwise reserved and don't really have the personal confidence you want to see in young people, develop that through picking up skills through this team game. And so I've developed a new appreciation for it, seeing this camp grow, and they've got another opportunity in July, so that's going to be great as well. That concludes my report. Mr. Administrator, any report for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of council, just a quick update on where we stand on some of our rec projects. We're clipping along. The weather's been a little bit of a hindrance, but I feel like we're pretty well on track. Boyd Young up in Westville, we've got irrigation installed, and that's going to be very important as it relates to having sustainable grass and coverage up there, grading. So they're early into that project, but it's moving along. Bethune is, they're getting ready to set up silt fences and things like that, some of the demolition up there, removing some of the old material. Woodward Park continues to move along. They starting to go vertical on some of the restrooms and some of the concessions. Just a lot of grading and surface work. Some slabs have been put down for some of the shelters, picnic shelters. Wateree River Veterans Park, they look to pour concrete maybe Thursday, Friday, depending on weather. They are at a point where the weather is not such a factor because of the subsurfaces they've been able to get completed is doing its job as it relates to runoff and stormwater. They do look to start pouring the ramp as soon as they can get lockstep with Duke as it relates to lowering the river to make that happen. Casey West, they've begun some mobilization out there. You'll see some equipment out there for the parking expansion as well as some earthwork. I'm happy to say that these projects are, we are within budget. We have made some adjustments. We've saw some of the cost escalations coming up previously, some months ago. We've made adjustments in this year's capital budget, and we've built back in capacity. This is a very dynamic time as it relates to projects. Costs go up probably weekly, and but we're still in a good position to have these projects funded through completion, and as close to on time as we can get.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the administrator? Any comments?
No, Mr. Chair, it's not exactly related, but one thing I forgot to mention, and I think it's important for logistics, is our third reading of the moratorium ordinance. Because of public notice requirements, we're going to have a public hearing on July 8th, but because Councilman Brazel will be on vacation that week, we're likely not going to have the third reading on July 22nd, until July 22nd. So I just wanted folks to know in terms of, the third reading would normally be next week, but because we had to do notice of the amendment, we had to do that. It took more time. So July 8th is the public hearing, and July 22nd would be third reading. And I just wanted to flag that.
That's correct. Okay. Any questions or comments for the administrator? All right. Ms. Douglas, you've been great here tonight. Thank you. Any legal briefing?
Nothing from me, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right. And that takes us to, I don't want to punish us tonight with another executive session. No, I don't want to, truly. If we've got almost a majority of the council gone, this is not a time-sensitive executive session matter. I make a motion that we defer item 15A to the next council meeting.
Second.
We've got a second on that?
Third.
It's executive session, so we'll address that one.
I think we all just poll voted.
I feel the support. All right, we'll move that for a vote then. All in favor of deferral, 15A? It's unanimous by those who are voting and present, and I can only assume maybe Mr. Jones has left us. With nothing else, that takes us to adjournment. We've already addressed the other executive session items. Is there a motion?
So
Mr.
moved.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
before we adjourn, just want to state that for Mr. Cato, just in case he's watching, see Miss Hannah for your shirts, and Mr. Brazel, and everybody else should have theirs in hand or somewhere where they can put their hands on them. But thank y'all once again, and happy Father's Day.
Okay, we got a motion from Mr. Tomlinson. Is there a second? We got a second. No discussion, I see. All in favor of adjournment? We are adjourned.